Hi everybody. I am heading out to Angelino Heights or Echo Park. To go see. This is a newer client. I really like her. And wish me luck because I've got all the 2024 info in her books. California, this region is under an extension, so I just got to wrap this up so her CPA can do the taxes. So that's where I'm headed now. With a little bit of luck, it'll all go very quickly. However, there's one card that was a bit of a mess. So I'm expecting that one to be way less straightforward. So I had an interesting, so this is a bonus because I'll still do my one for tomorrow. But I had an interesting client thing happen today. I have a client, I worked for his grandfather, I work for his dad, and I do work for him. And he's got a business that's doing quite well that he shares with some other people, and they asked me to do the bookkeeping for that business. And he negotiated a retainer and said he would pay me Friday. And then Friday came and went and he forgot. And I usually do have to chase him a little bit for money, but I was okay with it if it was a retainer. Because then I'm not waiting on anything. I'm not doing work and then feeling like I was emptied of my time and effort, and I'm just there with an empty plate waiting to get. So retainer really was such a good idea that I had another client who was, how shall I say, dicking around about paying their bill. Pretending they didn't see it, and then, listen, if you don't know this, I use PayPal to send my invoices, and PayPal tells me not only if an invoice has been viewed, but precisely at what time it was viewed. So, and so as a result of the conversation with the one client, I thought that retainer is a good idea. I'm going to put these other guys on retainer. And I wrapped them up and said, you need to pay my bill. And if you want me to continue working for you, we will work on a retainer basis. And I gave them an amount, and I said, and when that amount runs out, work will stop until you pay another retainer. And I think it may be the way I go moving forward. Although these are the only two clients that fiddle around with paying me when I submit an invoice. So I had all sorts of plans I made based on the retainer. I did some budgeting and some moving of things around. Because he said to me, well, I'm good for it. And it's true, I do know he's good for it. And he forgot to pay me on Friday. So my name is not unique. It may seem unique. It's not unique. I get a lot of emails for Laura Richters that are clearly not me. And I think some Laura Richters are out there just plugging in whatever emails so that they don't get spam from the church that they're donating to, Laura Richter in Georgia. I see you. You've been caught. giving the church money but then lying to them. Well, there's a 1-2 punch for you. Boy, this somebody. Okay, we'll talk about the holder in a minute. But I want is about retainer. So I reminded the client, don't forget to Zelle me today. And he said, can I Zelle you in a month? Can I Zelle you next month? Because in his mind, you pay the retainer once the work is done. And that's when I realized he didn't want a retainer, he wanted to do a flat rate. Okay, a little stoppy zone moment. He wanted a flat rate. I don't do flat rate. This is not an all-you-can-eat buffet. And what my experience of flat rate is, nobody's happy. The client thinks that they're not getting enough for their money, so they demand more and more and more and more, which then pushes your hourly rate down, and you are worth less and less and less and less. And everyone winds up frustrated and angry. If in my experience, it's not a respectful place. A retainer, however, you give an attorney a retainer, and they use that to cover the bill, right? Until either you re-up more retainer or the case gets settled. One or the other. Retainer is respectful. And between you and me, I knew that the retainer they proposed was not going to cover all the work that they wanted done. And I thought, well, I'll give them a scooch extra. So I put it all together and I realized that he didn't mean retainer, he meant flat rate. And so I let him know. He's like, let's just go back to the normal way. So he just wants me to invoice him at the end of the month, which I can do. We're back to whatever standard. But I had to explain the difference between retainer and flat rate. And I had to explain that, just ballpark, the work I think they want done in the next month is closer to $3,000 than it is to $2,000, which was what the proposed retainer was. So that's like a 30% discount. Oh, hell no. No. That's not respectful. And especially since they need a lot of work done and they want it done fast. So they want basically a year or two worth of bookkeeping done inside 3 weeks. That's, he mentioned this is a heavy lift. Yes, I understand it's a heavy lift. No, we're not lifting heavy and doing it cheap. Nope. That you can have it fast, or you could have it quality. You could have it, there's a third item. There are 3 things that people always want. They want it fast, cheap, and good. Fast, cheap, and good. And most of the time, you can only get 2 out of those 3 things. You can get it fast and good, but it ain't cheap. And that's pretty much where we landed today. So, my phone holder, a little wobbly today. My right hand mirror met with a stray garbage can and got knocked the hell off. And my neighbor's business partner is a very handy fellow, and he said, if you get the mirror, I will put it on. So nice. I have given them free bookkeeping, so I think that was kind of a human gesture of but it made my life so much. So now I've got the mirror over there. So little objects are closer, which the old mirror was not like that. But not that I'm complaining. But I set up the camera holder so he could watch the repair video on his phone while he was working, and when he dismantled everything, it sort of was in pieces, and so yeah, that's what's happening there. So just so we're clear, I don't agree with anything that's happening in Washington right now. I really don't agree with Donald Trump, creating this war, because what? He's crazy. He's demented, and Donald demented, and the sooner we recognize that, the better off we'll be. Although then we get that J.D. Vance, and he's just a smarmy piece of work. So I just don't know. I just keep going back to America. It was nice while it lasted. I do think we're very, very, very close to, if not solidly in, you broke it, you bought it territory. And I voted for the girl. I don't think we'd be in this situation if we had the girl. Oh well. We're not going to make this a political rant, because we're trying very hard to make this a community of coming together. Because honestly, I'm still socially, psychologically recovering from the pandemic. I was already a work from home most of the time person, and people didn't understand that. And then the pandemic hit, and everybody had to work from home, and it normalized what I do. And it outsourced social gatherings. Like, people were doing stand-up comedy on Zoom, which is very different, than doing it live. And I've been in some crappy rooms, where it's repurposed movie theater, and the laughs disappear, and I've been in some, but I couldn't face it on Zoom. I was on a hiatus at the time anyway, because dead dad, and that first year after somebody passes, you've got to I didn't think anything was funny. I wasn't boo-hoo all the time, but I certainly wasn't seeing the funny side to things. I felt very unrelatable. We all experience loss, we all experience grief, but the way everybody experiences it is so different. It's, once you've been through it, you know how to respect somebody else who is in grief, and you understand that they've got to process their feelings and all that stuff. It's easier to hold space for somebody once you've been through it yourself. But I could not get to the comedy of it, which may point out that maybe I'm a weak comedian. Maybe that's true. But I certainly loved doing stand-up when I was doing it. And then the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic went away, and yet I still have not gotten back up on a mic anywhere. I miss it. I do miss it, and I am thinking about. I'm starting to think about writing jokes. I'm sort of stumbling through. I have this cat. I have 2 cats. Lemon, who is just a little bitty 8-pound alley cat, who I'm pretty sure was already feral by the time we snatched her up. She was little when we snatched her up, but she's petite, so she may have been older than we thought when we got her. She doesn't meow. She chirps and trills. She has a series of meeps and chirps and trills. A feral cat does not meow. So I think we got her after her meow was gone. She's trying to meow now, which she's learned from Zeus, who is, I got a year later because she saw cats over across the way and lost her mind. So, I got another cat, Zeus. Zeus is the opposite in so many ways. He's got more than a touch of Maine Coon in there. He's more than 15 pounds now. I don't know exactly how much because it's demoralizing to get on a scale and suddenly be 15 pounds heavier because you picked up the cat to find out how big they are. And the last time I did it, he was 14 pounds and he was smaller than he is now. So, yeah, he's a big boy. And he's fluffy, and he's an orange cat, which I've never had an orange cat. My brother's friend keeps sending me videos every now and then about how weird orange cats are. And, yeah, it tracks. Orange cats are weird, and he's weird. And he thinks he's little. He wants to be little. And he knows he's not little. And he would like to just snuggle on my chest. On my chest. And he's too big. And he falls off. Poor guy. But I think, nobody wants to hear a lot of fat jokes and a lot of cat jokes. But what if I could combine them and have fat cat jokes? I don't know. But I think there's something there. I think there's something to being a childless cat lady. Which, what a ridiculous thing to say. But, yeah. And I was thinking about getting myself a little pocket constitution that I could read and study. Because what some people think is not loving the Constitution is different than what I think not loving the Constitution is. So I'm of the opinion that if you want to bomb a country, you have to tell the Democrats and the Republicans what you're up to, not just your party. But that's not what happened in our nation this weekend. It shouldn't be such an us versus them situation. We shouldn't be fighting each other. And that's something that I think as citizens we have to be wiser about. We have to understand that your neighbor, who may be a dick from time to time, is just a dick. They're not your enemy. So I'm not enjoying the treating each other like we're all the Hatfields and McCoys. I don't like this happenstance, and I feel like if we could put a get along shirt over everybody in the nation, everybody's got to wear this stupid shirt until we get along, it would be a better place. I want your mom to have her Social Security and her Medicare. I want kids to have lunch at school. I want SNAP to SNAP. I want WIC to WIC. We're a wealthy nation, and the people who get resentful over helping neighbors, I don't understand it. I am not a Christian, and I know that that's a Christian value. And why am I more down with that value than you are? If you're being one of those clutching, squeezing, no sharing Christians. That makes no sense to me. Meanwhile, the rich are getting richer, and we're about to pay some huge prices for all of that. If you've got it tough now, hang on, buddy. Christmas is coming, and you will not have a single farthing. Oy, oy, oy. Whew. Sorry about that rant. I have discovered, we're moving on to sunnier pastures, Cola Scola. I think I'm in love. What a brilliant, funny, wacky, beautiful human being. Love Cola Scola. Hired. Oh, I see someone's trying to call me. They're just going to have to wait. And then I saw that they've subbed in other actors in the show Oh Mary, which sounds like a hilarious show. And one of the people that has played Mary was Betty Gilpin. I love Betty Gilpin so much. So much. She's great in everything she does. I don't care. And nobody can be drunk, miserable, cry better. Nobody. The best crier used to be Sally Field. Sally Field just cries. Betty Gilpin can do it drunk and miserable. Please. Everything. She did that weird Western. There was a series on Netflix. I don't remember the name of it. But she's got to get out west. She stops at some station. And I don't mean like train station. It's just some trading spot in, I think, Utah. And it's based on, and that's, they did such a good job. And they got these wild, evil, is it Mormons? Shooting people up, and oh God, it's so good. So good. And she's so good in it. Of course, she was great in Glow. And then she was in, it might have been on Peacock, one where she was a nun who was on a mission from God. And they really lean into the notion that nuns are brides of Christ. So her boyfriend is Christ. And she's got to walk a very fine line. And she's so, that was a bizarre show. So good. I don't think anybody else could have carried it. I would put that vibe similar to Fallout. So if you're looking for something really strange. And she shows up early on in American Gods, and then disappears. And then that show falls apart. I think that might have been affected by the strike. American Gods didn't make it for me. Did not live up to itself. Yeah. I think we've covered a lot of territory. I hope I've left you on a much more cheerful note than I was on 2 seconds ago. I hope that if you are doing your business, you're running your business, that you make sure that everybody understands the difference between retainer and flat rate. I strongly encourage you to go for retainer and to pass on flat rate. Flat rate will break everybody's heart. And the people who propose it think they're getting a bargain. And, this is not Groupon. This is life. So get what you deserve. Get your money, honey, and you deserve it. Don't let somebody talk you out of it. Anyway, I really love doing this. I love doing this with you guys. I hope I just didn't miss my turn. No, good. Because this is the first time I'm doing it without Google Maps. And I think I'm doing good. I think this is my turn. These houses around here are so brilliant and beautiful. A lot of them were built in the early 1900s. And you've got an amazing mix of craftsman and Victorian houses. It's really astonishing. So, and it's near the ballpark. So, if you want to go see a baseball game and then get lost, this is a great place to do that. Yeah. Je suis arrivée. I think I said that wrong. I do not care. Because here we go. Perfect parking. All right. You have a really good day, whatever you're doing. I'll have something to talk about tomorrow. And take care of yourself. Take care of your friends and your family. And let's just get through this madness together. Let's remember that person that you don't like may be a jerk, but they're not your enemy. So let's be respectful to each other. Okay, the end.